Welcome to my channel, fellow evolvers. This is my weekly segment for my pen diary. My name is Christina, and I am evolving into the person I am meant to be. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll catch you later. Bye for now.
All right, let's roll.
I don't think it's supposed to go too low.
Okay.
You have to pinch it and then hold it. Don't let go.
Day 1 of week 3 of my pen diary. This is my MJ dose.
Now remember, just align it to the skin. Make sure that it looks like it's going in before you press that purple button. Do not.
You good?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I mean, it looks like it's against it, so.
Okay.
You good?
Ooh. Just hold on. Okay.
Took it off?
Yep, and then show it to the camera. And then go ahead and clean.
You do have a little bit of bleeding there.
Well, it hurt like hell.
And that's it. Just a little bit of magic to get the week started. The next morning, we decided to visit the local farmers market so that we can get in some steps before our day started. Good morning. Hola. Namaste. Aloha. Talofa. Next door to the farmers market is this quaint little place that we took a really quick jaunt through before we were able to make it to our vehicle. I wanted to just show this real quickly because we're in the heart of the National Capital Region, so why not? We got rolling down the road so I can drop my daughter off for work. Which brings me to the WNOD trail. The little jaunt I took at the farmer's market was only about half a mile, so not exactly where I wanted to be with my goals. I went for a 1.5 mile walk. Look at this beautiful scenery. How can one not be motivated to walk in this? The weather is perfect. It was a beautiful day. I also wanted to ensure that I got in a full 2 miles for the day. And I did just that. Ooh, look at my cute little water bottle. Yes, folks, don't forget to hydrate, especially if you're on a GLP-1. Oh yes, that belly is out there, but we are working on it. I have always felt this deep love for nature. I'm not sure if it's because I'm of South Pacific lineage and it's just inherent in us, or if it's because I spend over 40 hours a week in a building with no view of the outside world. Either way, every chance I get to be outside feels like a gift. Being outside in nature gives me the opportunity to rebuild my stamina, strength, and get grounded.
Are you coming?
I didn't realize I was supposed to come.
What are you going to do? Stay there all day?
Anyways, you look cute.
Aw, thank you.
I love this girl. I wish every parent had one just like her.
Yeah. I was gonna make a joke, but I'm not gonna make a joke.
While the GLP-1 helps with the inside work, it is these steps that keep me moving forward. Every bit of progress adds up, leading me to evolve. Part of my work is changing the way I frame my own story. I'm working on nurturing a stronger spirit and reshaping the language I use about myself.
Although I'm very overheated. Doesn't help to have like a slip and stocking, everything on. But I'm doing this right after work, so trying to get those steps in.
Next stop, Whole Foods. Picking up a few things to get me through the rest of the week. Food choices matter just as much as movement. I picked up a hot meal of roasted chicken with zucchini. I also chose some pre-cooked eggs. They're great for egg salad, tossing into a salad, or just eating one or two on their own for breakfast. I added some beef hot dogs, cottage cheese, and a couple of protein shakes. And of course, I couldn't leave without my coconut water. With GLP-1, my focus is making sure everything I choose keeps my protein up.
Hi, all my GLP-1 besties. How's everyone doing today? My name is Christina. Welcome to my channel, Christina Evolving. I hope you are all doing well. Today is August 14th. It is Thursday. Week is almost closing and I am looking forward to the weekend. I'm also looking forward to taking my fourth tomorrow. This is my week 3 update and I just want to say I'm so happy to have you all here. So I really appreciate that you take the time out of your day to tune in because there are so many of us out there. So I appreciate the time you took to be here. If you are new here, welcome. If you don't mind, I would really appreciate it and it would go a long way for the algorithm if you would give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell. If you hit the notification bell, it just notifies you of every single video that I post. Otherwise, YouTube chooses what videos to show you. So let's see, let me say real quickly so I do not forget, I am not a medical professional. This is my disclaimer. I have no medical background. I am not a doctor. I am not a nurse. I am not a medical technician of any sort, like many of us YouTubers. I am just here sharing my real life experience. And my experience is about a prescription that I take for diabetes, which also helps me lose weight. This prescription is called, or the scientific name is Tirzepatide, and the name that is used and marketed to those who are looking only for weight loss is Zepbound. All right, so now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's get into it. This is my 3rd week on. So tomorrow, Friday, I am taking, like I mentioned earlier, my 4th. And I'm kind of excited for it. So why am I excited for it? Well, I felt like week 3 was such a drag. So I am looking forward to tomorrow because once I get my, I'm hoping that the next week is going to be a lot better. But why was week 3 a drag? So last Friday, when I took my third, as they advised us to, when we take our shots, to try to alternate between your thighs, your arms, and the sides of your stomach. So I was doing exactly that. That's what the medical professionals say. That is what is recommended on the inside of the cardboard box of the package. So far, since I've had 3 already, I did on my first one was the right side of my belly button. My second shot was on the left side of my belly button. And my last, the third one, was in my left arm, the left backside of my arm, which you will see in the video. My daughter administered that one for me since it's kind of hard to reach back there. It's not the first time I've used my arms. It is the first time as I mentioned previously, I was on and I alternated in the arms, and I mainly stayed in the arms, I think, because I had worked myself up so much that I was scared to take the Semaglutide. But I've seen a lot of progress with people who use the sides of their stomach. So when I went on the Tirzepatide, I thought, well, let me get the courage up and try out the stomach. So that's what I did. Not to say because I don't have enough evidence, I don't have enough data collected. I'm only a short amount of time in, but the first week was awesome. No food noise, immediate. And I immediately also noticed that I was not hungry. Not that I didn't crave anything, but I just wasn't hungry. So I had to intentionally tell myself, you need to eat. And I feel like some of my issues that I encountered during week 2 may have been from the fact that I didn't feed my body enough during that time period. And I did lose a large amount of weight. For that amount of time, that was a significant weight loss. Week 3, after I had taken and it was kind of interesting because the day prior to it, I felt what a lot of other patients or users described as that hunger pang, or that feeling of being ravenous leading up to shots. I think maybe that was like that Thursday before I took my I started to feel, I kind of noticed I was hungry. So I was like, okay, now I know what everybody is talking about. I can definitely feel the difference. So, going through the motions and kind of like all excited about the whole thing, because I'm like, oh, this is what everybody's talking about on the socials. So that's what that feels like. Okay. I took my and I felt ravenous quite frequently. What is that owed to? Like I said, I don't have the data. Based on me having other health issues and just kind of knowing my body, I have 2 theories. One, that the in my left arm did not work as well as when I've done it in my stomach. And I say that because I have many friends who are GLP-1 users who have noted that. That theory is a little biased based on that, their experiences. But it could be true. So that's one theory. The other theory I have is that I have a history of acid reflux disease, GERD. And in the past, when I've had GERD, it's safe to say I have it bad enough that I've had to have prescriptions for it, and I've actually ended up in an ER for it. And when I have a really bad bout of it, I am sick. Like, I could be sick a week long. So ill that I'm actually like everything is like being thrown up and I can't hold anything down. When my GERD is acting up, I've had moments where I just felt really hungry, ravenous. And I don't know why that is. No one's really been able to provide me an answer. And it's not all the time, but it has happened frequently enough that I understand that sometimes when I have that hungry feeling, and it's a hungry feeling where if I eat something, I don't feel fulfilled. And I can eat a lot and I do not feel fulfilled for whatever reason. I don't feel like I ate anything at all. I feel hungry before, during, and after. So I don't know what that's about. There's got to be a reason. Either that or I'm just like a really odd case. But certain foods tend to cause the acid reflux in me. Anything that has like pepper in it, anything made with tomatoes, like pasta sauce. So having pizza is kind of like painful for me, although I love pizza. Drinking sodas, white sugar, white flour, definitely anything chocolate related doesn't matter. Actually, I had a bout where I had drank like 2-3 cups of hot chocolate during the winter time. Was in the spirit of the season and I wanted to enjoy a cup of hot chocolate with marshmallows in there and a whipped cream, and I was sick literally the entire week, throwing up stuff like no content, but I knew the acid reflux. I couldn't lay down. I had to like sit up in bed. It was really bad. It is very possible that my feeling of hunger throughout week 2 is from my acid reflux disease, which really sucks because it's really hard to kind of know what is caused by what. So all I do is I try to write it down, and sometimes if I don't have my notebook and my pen, I try to mentally note it because I can't take my cell phone into work, so it's kind of really hard to kind of capture that sometimes. I did not enjoy the feeling of feeling hungry all the time. I was like doubting myself, like, this is not working. Why is it not working? What do I need to do? Intention. I had to be very intentional about not trying to overeat because I was feeling that. I do take acid reducers every day. I'm currently just taking OTC Pepsid. I did take prescriptions in the past, but my doctor kind of prefers for me not to take that long term. Kind of came off of the medication and was fine for a little bit, but once I was back on a GLP-1, I knew I had to take Pepsid because of the sulfur burps I've heard that everybody's had. I've been taking that faithfully. I also take Tums. I have this in my vehicle and I also have one at home. I've been popping these all week. My system is very particular because I have a lot of issues. So my system is very particular about what I take. There are things that I have taken that do not work. There are certain types of antacid that I cannot take. But for most part, Tums works. It used to not work for me. Pepsid also used to not work for me. Omeprazole used to not work for me as well. The only thing that worked was water with a teaspoon of baking soda, which tastes horrible. It just tastes like a lot of salt just poured in a cup of water, and you're trying to drink all the. It tastes like you took loads of salt water and you're just trying to down it. Yeah, that was my week 3 moment. I have walked every day of week 3, including the weekend. I'm gonna insert some of the videos in there about some of the walks my husband and I, my daughter and I have done at some of our trails. We have like the W and OD trail. So there's parts where you can get on and off the trail at different parts of the states. So there was some nice little areas where we parked and decided to go for a walk, and a lot of people also go biking on that trail. So it's a very beautiful trail. It depends on which part of the trail you're on, but for the most part it's very beautiful. Lots of bridges, streams, sometimes rivers, so it just kind of depends. But so I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the walking. Like I mentioned in week 2, I walk roughly about minimum 1 mile a day. It is half a mile to walk from my vehicle to the door where I put my phone away before I enter my office. And then another half a mile exactly from picking up my phone back to my vehicle. So that's my 1 mile minimum a day. Besides that 1 mile, I know I am actually doing a little bit more walking otherwise. So Monday through Friday, I am normally walking. And then the weekend, went with my husband out on the trail. We had a great time. But I am trying not to do more than 2 miles a day max. So we went out and I intentionally only did 2 miles max, unless I was at work that day and say I only did a mile or a mile and a half, then I would just do the remainder just to reach that 2 miles. I think I may be short, a little short on the 2 miles. I may be like 1.8 miles, roughly around there. So, but I'm trying to do that, and I'm trying to eat a little bit more protein, just because of the cramping I had during week 2, and just like realizing maybe week 1 I was just not eating enough. Anyways, what about all of you? What do you guys do? Do you guys, I know some people love to go gung-ho. They go to the gym, they do their thing. In the past, I am a very gung-ho type person. If I get into a diet, I'm like full throttle. I go in all the way. Walking 2 miles would not have been acceptable to me when I got on my diet program. And maybe one day I will share some of my data from my pedometer from during COVID when I did a lot of my walks. And yeah, so I actually walked 10 miles on the weekends on a Saturday, and then on a Sunday go back out and do 6 to 8 miles walking. So yeah, I can get a little extreme. And then I was doing between 4 to 5 miles a day, Monday through Friday. So I can get very extreme, and I know that I burnt myself out doing that. I also was biking, and I would do 32 miles on a Saturday or on a Sunday. So with all the other stuff. Yes. So I was actually in really good shape during COVID. I gained once I went back to work, which, let's see, I went back to work working in the office versus from home, and I believe 2022. Once I went back in the office, and then from there I had a couple other incidents. I had some health incidents. I was in a vehicle, and I have some neurological issues from it, some nerve issues. So I gained, I would say, about 80 pounds. I used to say 70, but this past year I gained an extra 10 pounds. So I gained 80 pounds since returning back to work. Not solely only because I returned back to work, but that is a big contributing factor, probably for many of you too. So I gained 80 pounds, and also when I had the neurological issues, I had a difficult time walking. I could not walk. They wanted me, when I got discharged from the hospital, they wanted me on a walker. And I refused to have a walker. I was like, no. If I cannot walk on my own, you know, I was not going to use a walker. So they would not discharge me from the hospital until I would take something. So I ended up taking a cane, which I still have in the house. So I have a cane. I use it occasionally when things act up. But when I started to go back into work, people were like, hey, Christina, why don't you just grab the motorized, what do you call it? Oh gosh, the name escapes me right now. But you've all seen it. It's the one where folks sit on and they drive it through malls or stores. So there are folks at work who use that to get to the office and then, you know, get back outside. So they were like, yeah, you should really use that. But me personally, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with anyone using that. I support anyone who needs to use the tools available to them. I just felt like it wasn't for me because one, my ego would be bruised if I actually used it. I thought it was bad enough I had to use a cane. So, but I felt that I needed to continue trying to walk. And all of this just to say that, you know, my path to health has been a continuous journey. So I went from being fit to, and when I say fit, I'm not saying that I was skinny. I was not skinny by no means. I have not been skinny for a long time, since before I had my children. So even when I had my first child, I lost all my weight and some, and could not get back to my pre-baby weight size. And just several things spread. My nose, the bridge, this part of my nose I noticed spread. My hips spread, and my feet spread. So some things went back to normal, a lot of things did. So it's been quite, you know, an experience, the way the body changes, and it's been an up and down path. It was nice to be able to walk every day this past week, and very intentionally thinking about not overdoing it, because like I said in the past, I am a full throttle, all in type of person. 2 miles to me would not have been good enough. I would have wanted to do 3 or 4 miles. Actually, I know myself, because during COVID, I felt like anything under 5 miles was not worth my time. And I had a difficult time trying to keep up that schedule. Walking 5 miles a day takes a lot of time, especially when you're like, you know, working, but then you're trying to get in 5, that's many hours. And I did the 5 miles because I was like, that's at least 10,000 steps. I know if I do my 5 miles, that's at least 10,000 steps. So also, I did notice back then, when I did do 5 miles, I was losing. But when I was doing 4 miles, I was maintaining. So I noticed that about my body because I was tracking it at the time. So that's why I kind of like doing these weekly updates, because I can track things a little bit better now. I can look back on it one day and see, hey, there's me. And that's what I did. And that's what I did wrong. And wow, why did I do that? And wow, I've learned a lot from that. What else do I have to say about this past week? no diarrhea, no migraines, absolutely no nausea. I haven't really experienced nausea. So, what I did experience additionally is I feel like this past week I have been a little bit more constipated. I usually go in the morning when I get up. I will have a bowel movement before I go to work. I have gone 2 days before I would have one. So like the third day, then I have the recommended fiber type for kind of like my issues. So I've been working on the fiber powder with my water that I take every morning. I started off slow, and then over the last 2 days I have increased it to 2 teaspoons every morning in my water. So I did have a bowel movement this morning. I was really happy about that because I was like, ugh. One of my doctors, prepping for a procedure, recommended that I take something called Swiss Chris, I believe it is. I haven't taken it at all this time, but he told me it was one of the most gentlest over-the-counter laxatives, for lack of a better word, to take that would help. It's supposed to work within like 12 hours. Like you take it at night, and then in the morning you're supposed to have like, I'm probably going to consider kind of like introducing that like Friday night, maybe Saturday night, so that, you know, I handle that kind of business on the weekend, just like once a week, in addition to the fiber, so I can make sure everything is moving as it should. You know, I really would love to hear from you guys. Where are you in your journey? Are you on a Tirzepatide? Are you on a Semaglutide? What has your experience been so far? Where are you within that journey? Week 1, week 50? What have you noticed was the biggest challenge? And then I am really curious, besides the obvious weight loss, what was the biggest reward? And I'm not talking about weight loss. Those are obviously rewards. I'm not talking about fitting into clothes and sizes. Of course, that's a non-scale victory, which is fantastic. But I'm just curious, like, what other type of rewards have you felt? The GLP-1 community is extremely beneficial to everybody on this path. The support, that is the number one thing. The support, the advice, you know. If you're new to GLP-1, I bet you many of you that are new probably just got the box in the mail and no instructions from your doctor. So, you know, that's why it's good to have the community, just to discuss things, see ups and downs and recommended changes and what worked, what didn't work, and then take that back and talk to your, you know, if you have a regular MD, talk to your MD and say, hey, you know, I heard this, doc, what do you think? Do you think that's a good idea? Because, you know, I'm sharing my experience with you, and you're gonna hopefully share some of yours with me. And I engage with two of my doctors. I have a doctor, she works for the obesity and bariatric center. So, and I was referred to her by my internal medicine doctor. And I got a various host of doctors because of the issues I mentioned earlier. But between those two, I'm able to communicate with them online, send them like questions and stuff, and hopefully you're able to do the same thing too. Or maybe you have it even better, you can just pick up the phone and talk to them. But my doctors are pretty easy to get a hold of, and you know, the stuff I've been learning, like I mentioned to them I should talk to, because I had to renew my prescription, because with the Tirzepatide you get 4 pens, at least for me. I get 4 pens. They're pre-filled pens. I can't change the dosage in them, so I get 4 pens. And now that tomorrow's my week 4, I'm out, so I had to ask them to renew the prescription. So I just get on there and I'm like, hey doc, I need you to refill my prescription. Oh, by the way, you know, I was constipated. Yeah, we kind of like talked about it and everything. So and here's like, you know, people were telling me to take this type of fiber, because I did not realize there's different type of fiber brands. So we were talking about, yeah, so there's people taking this type of fiber, but doc, I also, you know, have no gallbladder, and I heard this other fiber is not good for me. So, you know, what's your opinion? And then, you know, had that conversation with them. So I think that's like part of one of the reasons why this community is good. You can take some of that stuff you're learning and have that conversation with your doc. And sometimes your doc might be like, you know, I don't know. I've had a couple doctors tell me that. I don't know, but you know, I'll look into it. So that's a good doctor, one that's willing to listen and look into things. So anyways, constipation and hungry. I have been stepping on scale daily the entire week, and definitely notice, and maybe it's because my body's adjusting. For the first 1 to 2 weeks, I lost a lot of weight. Just could be my body adjusting. I've also increased the food too, because when I would get off the scale, it'd be a little down in the dumps, because I was like, oh, you know, because your mind is like, wow, you dropped that much. And even someone said it to me as well. They were like, wow, Christina, can you imagine if you could just drop 10-15 pounds every week? You would be like, in a month you can lose like 40 pounds. And I'm like, I was a little annoyed when I heard that, because I was like, I don't think I can do that. But that extra pressure of someone saying, hey, you could lose 40 pounds in a month, that's great, you know, keep up the good work, you know, it's not helpful at all. Because I know the way my brain works, and I know a lot of you feel the same way, that when you step on that scale, I definitely noticed that my loss this week has slowed down a lot. I think I've still lost weight, but so far it seems very tiny that my mind is like, that's it. And those are the, you know, those mental issues, those I don't know, I call them mind games that we go through. And that's not fair. That's not fair to us in our process. I'm trying to, because my weigh-in day is after the following week starts, if you will. Like tomorrow, my week 4 starts in my mind. But Saturday is my week 3 weigh-in. It'll be interesting Saturday to see what my final number is for the week. So I do know that I have lost weight. I've lost weight. You should be proud of yourself. You're losing weight. You're out there trying to do 2 miles a day, every day. You're watching and eating your food I've been very intentional about everything I've been eating. I've been eating healthy stuff. So someone celebrated a birthday at work today, and I love bun cakes. And we go to a cake store usually to buy birthday cakes for folks in our office, and I resisted. I didn't have a single cake, no tiny little slice. And some people will say, oh, it's okay, have a little slice. And I actually see on socials a lot of GLP-1 users who are eating a lot of stuff and they're still losing weight. I can't justify eating a slice of cake while I'm also on this path. Like, that is not my goal. I mean, for me personally, that's not to say I'm never going to have dessert and I'm never going to have a slice of cake. I will. Life happens, and I have some birthdays coming up in my nuclear family, so I plan on having a slice of cake when their birthdays are here. So I'm not gonna take that, but I'm also gonna be like, it's gonna be in my mind. I can't do it all the time because that's where things go wrong for me. So these updates of mine, they're more like a talking diary. So thank you for your patience and still being here and still listening to this. Feel free to skip ahead. I just hope that I have something of value to some of you, and that we can share. Let's share back and forth. What are you doing? What are you doing to evolve in your GLP-1 journey? How are you holding up out there? There's a lot of stuff happening in the GLP-1 community. There's some changes that Eli Lilly is making. CVS Caremark is making. The insurances are also making. Politicians are making. There's a lot happening right now. So I think some of my friends are extremely disappointed in hearing that the prices for the medication is going up. I actually have friends who, besides their normal job, also work DoorDash, which I've helped someone with DoorDashing, and I feel so bad for DoorDashers. That's all I have to say. In some areas, you might be treated really well, but the lack of civility, the entitlement that some of these people have, the way they treat these people are just drivers. They're just picking up your order, trying to rush to wherever the customer is at and drop off their order. And they're timed. They're timed. So it's like, without trying to wreck your car, make it there before the company, because you're considered a contractor. So they will how do you say it? Push your points down. So you don't get as many good tipping orders. Anyways, it's just horrible. But I have friends who DoorDash so that they can make extra money just to pay for their prescription. They're both the same medication. One is specifically marketed to diabetics like myself, and then the other is marketed to those for weight loss, for like obesity and so forth. So, but it's the same exact medication, just different name, different marketing, boxing. So yeah. And I think some of my friends mentioned to me today that they were doing this, or what they've been hearing. The PR is that this is to catch up with the price in Europe. Like, huh? What does that have to do with anything? I know there's a lot of stuff happening in the U.S. and with the politicians, and you know they're telling these companies that market two of the big ones. I mean, there's more than just those two, but they're encouraging them to offer this medication to everyone. So, but with that is like the whole cost thing. So it'll be interesting to kind of see where the politics goes with this. One other thing that my GLP-1 friends are very, very worried about, and those who are paying for it out of their pocket because their insurance doesn't cover it, is they're kind of worried with the price increase that people, like during COVID, when people were hoarding toilet paper at the beginning, and sanitizers and masks, N95 masks, that those with money will start buying up all the medication and just like hoarding them, so that there will be a shortage for those others out there. So I think, you know, whether you're diabetic or you're obese, both, in my opinion, need the medication. I don't see the difference between the two, because to me, if you're obese, the likelihood of you being diabetic or soon to be diabetic is, you know, pretty high. So I really feel like, you know, we shouldn't shame anyone because they're not diabetic and they're only obese. This medication helps you to be in better health. But yeah, I just hope that, you know, they resolve these issues, and we'll see where it goes. That's it for my update today. Thank you for listening to me. I hope you all continue to evolve out there on your journey to better health and weight loss.